Okay, so I think it's safe to say pretty much living in a binary world, one that has a lot of opposites, that can create tension, like good, bad, right, wrong, love, hate. It is just really too simplistic. I think we're moving into a very different world that needs a new paradigm. So I have this tool, a little drawing, and the 3 C's that I want to share with you to help you orient yourself in this new paradigm that is non-binary. And in fact, I think it's more of a continuum, a spectrum, something that it does not clearly have 2 different sides, but instead brings us along a whole range of possibilities from one pole to the other. And yes, we still do have the opposites that we can play with. So I had this little drawing, did it with my daughter's little pencils around here. So it's pretty simple, right? You can see a lot happening. So you can see the continuum on 2 ways, right? You can see the continuum on the inside of this little oval and then on the outside. And we'll call this inside and outside, the content and the context. The context is always what something is in. Sometimes we get really blind to context. It can really be something that's so hard to see because it's like the water that we swim in, but everything is held in context, whether it is physical, mental, emotional. So context is very important. And then contrast. Obviously, it goes from light to dark here. That's just one way of contrast. In the world of humans, you can see differences. So I'm going to fold the paper in a couple of different ways that will maybe allow you to think of ways to play with these concepts in your life. So the first one, right, is just these 2 sides. It is part of the story, right? There are quote unquote opposites. This is the binary world. It does exist, but it's almost, I think I've heard it called the fool's choice, where you have this or that, right or wrong. It's because we're missing the whole spectrum of possibility. So I like to, when I find myself in binary thinking and, well, it's either this or that, I have to choose me or them. I like to remember that, yes, it's true. There are those 2 options, but that's my fool's choice, because if I stay stuck in binary thinking, I lose out on a whole range of other possibilities that fit in this beautiful gray area. And the more I experience life, the older I get, I realize that life is full of this huge nuanced area. And this is where pure possibility comes in. But not if you can't get yourself out of this binary thinking of thinking that there's just 2 choices and you have to choose one of them. Practicing polyamory, actually, loving more than one person at a time, stepping out of the monogamous world has helped me really flex this muscle that I don't have to just choose one person to love. There are lots of different ways to love. Everything in here can be set up with different agreements. This gray area can be disorienting for sure, because it doesn't have as much contrast to see yourself. And it doesn't give us the security of saying, well, this is right and this is wrong. That doesn't exist anyway. But it really is a beautiful paradigm to play with. So that is one way. And I'm going to fold it this way, because sometimes when we're so in the middle, or if we're stuck in kind of a monoculture and we don't get contrast, we literally cannot see ourselves. So this might happen a lot. Let's say this is how you experience yourself in your home country. You're like, whatever, this is how everybody does it, but you don't even realize that you're thinking that. And then all of a sudden you step out of your country of origin or your culture of origin, or even when you're young enough, your little family of origin, you start to experience you start to experience differences. That's where the whole world of contrast comes in. And then you can start to orient yourself to say, wow, I didn't even know I was over here. I didn't realize it. I couldn't see that before. Now I have contrast. And the tool here, or the trick here, is to stay out of, again, the binary of good and bad. That is not going to serve you. It is just different. That's all it is. It is contrast. And so contrast can show up even when it's different. And if you experience people that have different thoughts, different beliefs, different ideals, when you get to see it just with this lens of different and not good or bad, you can actually have gratitude for somebody bringing up contrast so that you can see where you are truly and how you want to be and the things you want to choose. Now, you might experience contrast and difference and go, oh, wow, like I didn't even know I was over here. I want to make some decisions to move myself over here a little bit. In fact, I find that, okay, back to this binary thing, we get really judgy in this space, right? We're like, because the contrast is so different, unless we have experienced personally both sides of this spectrum, this continuum, we are lacking empathy and compassion because we don't understand the other. In fact, the other feels so far from us, we judge and we push away. I find that the world, my life, presents opportunities for me to be that other at some point. And so when that becomes the case, I then can start to develop more of a, like, I'm one person, and how did I go from here to here? Oh, that's actually because it is a whole spectrum. I've now experienced more sides. And once you experience both sides, both ends of the spectrum, then you start to have choice to be like, well, I've experienced both extremes. Okay, that's one way to do life. But is there anywhere that's like right in the middle? Do I have to go all the way over here or all the way over here? Maybe I want a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I can orient myself and choose where I want to be on that continuum. It helps with compassion a lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, so there you go. You have contrast, context, and continuum to help you get out of your binary thinking. This is a whole new paradigm. I'm super passionate about this world, this paradigm of continuum, of a different way of looking at the way that we live, the way that we experience ourselves, the way that we understand ourselves and the other, and the way that we truly get to create ourselves in the world. I would love your thoughts. I'm so curious. Does this make sense? Do you have personal examples that you could seize? Do you have questions? Anything that I can clarify? I really want to sort through these ideas and get this into a nice, like a nice to as a tool to start more of us to open up to the world of possibilities, not just get stuck in that fool's choice of this or that, right or wrong. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.